If you're a police officer, stop working overtime at your agency. I'm going to give you 5 reasons today that are going to support what I just told you and may ultimately change your life. It changed my life and helped me build my company, which has given me the life of my dreams. So the first thing that I tell people, especially young officers, on why not to work overtime is you're not building something legacy, meaning something that you can get into and transition into after your police career. The problem with overtime is it is only there while you're a police officer, and then after you retire, what are you going to do? So building something that imagine building a business for 20 years or 25 years and growing that business. And then when you retire, having that business there where you could do one of two things. You could transition into working that business full time, or you could just sell that business, and that could be a second pension if your original pension is there, or if something happens to your original pension, you at least have that. So that is why I tell a lot of young officers, don't get sucked into working overtime and road jobs. Listen, I was a young officer and I did the same thing. I would see road jobs pop up and man, it was extra money. So I would just jump right into it. It wasn't until a short time later where I learned from a mentor of mine that working overtime and these road jobs and these construction details and all these other, road overtime gigs at the police department were actually hurting me and was actually not what I wanted to be doing. Not only was it boring, you're sitting there in a patrol car on the side of the road watching someone like dig a ditch or something, or the overnight overwatch patrols, that were just mind numbing. You're just struggling to stay awake. It was not only, mentally not beneficial in any way, but it's also physically, you're just sitting there is horrible, but you're also not creating anything. Yeah, you're getting that dollar per hour and then you get taxed on that dollar per hour. So at the end of it, what do you have? So building that business that I started while I was a police officer outside the police agency gave me something to jump into when I was no longer a police. And those of you who know my story, thank God I had that, because when I separated from the agency, I was already full swing into that business. And now, just a few years later, that's the business that has created the life of my dreams and given me everything that I've ever dreamed of and more. So that is why, first reason I tell guys, stop working the overtime and get into something. Build your own business outside of being a police officer. So the next thing is working road jobs is an active thing. You have to physically be there, and sitting in the car or whatever, working that football game or that hockey game, whatever it might be, you have to physically be there. When you build something outside of the police agency, you can actually build it in the beginning actively by being hands-on and building it yourself, whatever it might be. But then afterwards, you can grow it to where it's passively creating income. Now, there's a ton of things you can do that are passive income. But one example is a buddy of mine. He was a young officer, and he was at another agency. And I shared this with him. And he ultimately started a pool cleaning business. And he was, doing it himself on his days off. Instead of working overtime, instead of working shifts, he started doing pool cleaning and pool maintenance, things like that. Just a little side thing. He didn't really know how to do it, but he kind of figured it out. It's not that hard. And then what he did was, on his days where he was working, he hired a guy to go out and do the pool servicing while he was on duty. And then on the days that he was off duty, him and his employee were doing that. Well, fast forward, what is it? It's 2025 now. So I'm going to say it's been 10 years since he's been doing his company. He has, I don't know, like 7 or 8 different guys on the road with their trucks doing their pool servicing. He's partnered with a lot of pool construction companies to come in and be the servicing provider of the new pool after it's installed. So he's done it very smart. And when he's working on patrol, he now has 6, 7, 8 guys out there going around doing the pool servicing, cleaning the pools, doing their thing. So he's making money passively, even on the days that he's working and on the days that he's not. Right now, on the days that he's not working, there's some days that he doesn't even need to go clean the pools. He just kind of sets the schedule and manages everything, and he has that set. And he's making way more money than he would have working road jobs and working overtime details at work. So he was able to build that. Now, when he retires, he's going to, by the time he retires, I don't know how big this company is going to be or how big his business is going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be bigger than what it is today. And now he'll have 2 options. He can just go into running that full time, which is a pretty easy gig, and it's an enjoyable gig. He's like outside, it's nice weather, whatever. Or he could sell that business. He could just sell that business completely, sell it for whatever he might be able to get it for. He's doing really well right now, and that's it. That's another cash out chunk of money he'll be able to get when he retires. So another reason why and going from working road jobs on his day off to creating that business has completely changed his life. So passive. It's passive now. It's not active. So the other thing. So I'm just going on my notes here. It's one of the things that I saw with many officers is that when there was road jobs posted, they were fighting to get to that board and get their name on that board to sign up for the overtime. And over time, no pun intended, that if road jobs or extra duty or overtime wasn't available, they got accustomed to that overtime pay in their check. So there were certain guys that their lifestyle, be it for their mortgage or their car payment or their, whatever toys they were buying stupidly, whatever it is, they became accustomed to that overtime lifestyle. And they were just used to getting X amount of hours in their check every pay period. And then there was a time when overtime kind of dried up a little bit. It was a downturn in the economy. There weren't road jobs, there weren't construction jobs, and overtime kind of just dried out. And these guys were losing their minds. They were literally stressing. They were losing sleep because now they couldn't pay their bills that were a part of the lifestyle they created that relied on that overtime. And now their wives are like hounding them at work, like, hey, is there overtime? We can't pay the bills. So I saw it all. And if you guys are on the job, I'm sure you have seen it too. So that is a danger of working that overtime. If you create a business outside, you create your own business outside of police work, that is something you control. You can control it, and you'll see, and especially in the beginning, there's some natural ebbs and flows, but you will never create a lifestyle around what that business is bringing in because it's your business and you're going to watch it grow. You're going to see how much money is coming in, how much money is not coming in. So you'll be definitely more careful and more cognizant of your finances. So the guys that I know that had their own business outside of police work, they never had this crazy lifestyle that they changed because of that overtime coming in that they got used to. No, they worked their business, they grew their business, and as their businesses did better, then they incrementally increase their lifestyle a little bit. Maybe they got a nicer truck or something like that. Maybe they bought their wife a nicer car, whatever it might be. But that was something they did in relationship to their business growth and success, not living and dying by the overtime sign up. And when the overtime went away, they were just losing their mind. Once again, the overtime they became a slave to the overtime rather than putting that time and energy and effort into building their own business and then adjusting their life according to that. So that was one of the major things that I tell a lot of the young guys when you are thinking about that overtime. Just remember, it's good. In the beginning, it seems good and it feels good, but you get used to it, and let me tell you, it's a dangerous path to go down. Number 4. There are zero tax advantages to working overtime. I would, in the beginning, when I was working overtime, I was young and dumb, and I just wanted to make extra money. And I would work however many hours of overtime, and then you'd see a massive amount go out to taxes, right? So I tell young officers this all the time, whether you're on the job as a police officer, firefighter, it doesn't matter, paramedics, you have to learn taxes. A lot of us have a lot of time at night to read something or whatever when we have our downtime, right? So if you're going to take a break and read something, make sure it's not some crap on your phone, right? And you're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it might be. Read up about tax strategies, because when you have your own business, you can leverage the tax laws and the tax loopholes to decrease your income and increase your quality of life. So if you know the tax laws and you know the tax code and you know the loopholes, why wouldn't you use them? Of course, everyone uses them. And having your own business is the greatest, let me say, hack to manage taxes. There's so many things you could do when you have your own business. And you can't do any of that as far as write-offs or putting things toward your when you're just working overtime, because they just see that overtime come in and they hit you over the head with taxes. So start your own business, create your LLC, and then you work the tax strategies. And that's what the wealthiest people do to build their wealth. And when I learned that, and I read multiple books on it that were given to me by my mentor, I read multiple books on it, and then I realized the power of how you can manage taxes. I don't want to use the word manipulate taxes, but how you could kind of use tax laws and tax strategies to your benefit and your family's benefit. Putting kids on your payroll, putting your wife on your payroll, all kinds of things. It's endless. I could do a whole separate video on that. But when you're getting things for your lifestyle and managing your lifestyle, you could utilize your business for those things. Even the vehicle you drive, it's just incredible. It's endless, and it will change the landscape of your financial future. So that's another benefit of having your own business outside of just working overtime. The fifth thing is pretty, I don't want to say simple, but it's something that, like I touched on earlier, it hit home for me. We with the world we're living in today, you never know what can happen when you're on the job. You can go to work tomorrow, and in the blink of an eye, something can happen, and your career could be over in a heartbeat. Believe me, it happened to me. It literally happened to me, and it's happened to so many officers I know. One day, everything's fine. The next day, whether it's admin coming after them or something happens on patrol or whatever it might be, and their lives are over, completely turned upside down, lives are shattered, and they're lost. They don't know what to do. Here they were just working, relying on their paycheck, relying on their benefits, and then working a ton of overtime, and then creating that lifestyle based on that overtime. And now, boom, it's gone overnight. It's gone, and now they're panicking. They're panicking because they don't know what are we going to do? How are we going to pay a bill? I got a wife, I got kids, all this stuff, right? So when you build that business outside and you create that income outside of police work, it is an excellent plan B. And it may become your plan A or your plan only should something happen. It could be something, you could get injured. You can get injured and, whatever. You might get obviously some disability, but it's not going to be nearly enough. So let's say you get an injury or something happens to you where you can no longer work. What are you going to do? You have to provide for your family. You have to provide for yourself. So when you build a business outside of the police department or whatever it is, your agency, you're now building something once again that you can easily transition to, and it's going to be able to take care of yourself, your family, whatever it might be. Especially if you've had that business for a few years and you've built it up nicely, it can now offset, maybe be a supplement to maybe some disability you're getting that is covering that gap from what you were making to what the disability payments are, whatever it might be. Or like I said, you can get suspended without pay, you can get terminated, you can get put on leave, whatever it might be. Having that is so much better than, well, I have nothing. Now I'm suspended, I'm terminated, I'm out on disability, or I can't work anymore because of injury, whatever it might be. Now you have nothing. So another reason why I tell a lot of young officers, build that thing. So those are the 5 reasons why I believe you should not be working overtime, and you should rather spend time focusing on a business you can start and a business you can build. I don't care if it's a service business. I don't care if it's a business where you're selling stuff, e-commerce, online. I don't really care what it is. I like service businesses because obviously e-commerce is difficult, and it takes the startup costs. And trust me, I know I've built this multi-million-dollar behemoth of a brand and a company, and it's not easy and it's not cheap. I had to bootstrap it, and it was difficult in the beginning. But nowadays, there's so many other things you could do. One of the things I love, especially as we go into as tech is changing and we're going in the world of AI, try to find things that are either AI proof or that AI helps you with. So there's a lot of different things you can do out there where you could utilize AI to make money, whether it's copywriting or creating digital assets or whatever it might be. So if you learn how to use those tools and then you sell those to other people, well, that's a great business. And now you're exploiting AI for your benefit and for financial benefit. But on the flip side of that, a lot of guys I talk to are like, I don't know that stuff, and whatever. Fine. Okay, so then find something that is usually service-based that AI can't replace. That that there's going to be no AI where, someone comes to your house and fixes a leaking pipe. AI is not going to be able to do that yet, or we think not yet for quite some, unless there's like some robot plumber that shows up to your house to fix the pipe, but that might be coming, but you probably have some time. So I always say service, learn a skill, learn a trade, and learn service. And then, like my buddy with the pool company, that was something that he got into, and there you go. It was something that I don't want to say it's, tech proof, but people always need people to, clean their pool, mow their grass, fix things in their house, construction, renovations, whatever it might be. A friend of mine, he started a construction business, and it was he started renovating, and then he started doing new construction. And then he ultimately, while he was still a cop, he became a pretty decent builder, and he was building some pretty remarkable homes and making really, really good money doing that. And then after his career ended, when he retired, I think he did 25 years. He retired at 25, and he had this massive company where he was a home builder. He was a legit home builder, making probably toward the end of his career, making more building homes than he was making from the police department by far, probably by like fivefold. So that is the beauty of doing something like that, and especially something where it's like hands-on, and it's something that you could, while you're working, have people doing and just kind of manage and oversight. It's such a powerful thing for you and your future. So those are some of the reasons why I'm a proponent of not working overtime at your police department and building something outside. I found this out just a few years into my career, and let me tell you, it changed my life. I was going down that addicted to overtime road, and then it changed my life. There's so many different things you could do out there. I know guys that got into financial planning, life insurance, sales, whatever. It's endless. The list is endless. All I can say is, if you're going to do anything, do it for yourself, because when you retire, the overtime goes away. You might have your pension if the pension is still solvent, right? Maybe I know guys who've retired and their pension was insolvent, and then they're like, oh, well, I did my 20 years. Now what? Well, sorry. So there's so many different things that can happen. So focus on yourself and do it for yourself. Build something for yourself rather than just give your time away and let your brain rot in a patrol car somewhere. And trust me, down the road, when either you build it to the point where you say, I no longer have to do this job anymore, I could leave early, the job is changing, it's becoming more dangerous, all these things. So you might imagine building something over the course of the next 5 or the first 5-10 years of your career, and then you say, you know what? I don't need to do this job anymore. Whether, you have family, kids, it's dangerous, political climate's changing, right? And, they're giving, criminals more, I guess giving criminals more benefits than the actual police officers and benefit of the doubt. So whatever it might be, you could say, hey, I'm done. I'm out. I built this business. It's surpassing my police salary. I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to feel better going to work every day because I built something for myself. I'm going to feel safer, whatever it might be. So there's 100,000 reasons why it's better to build something for yourself than just work that overtime at that department and waste your life away. So if you have any questions, comment below. You guys know I'm an open book. I'll share anything and everything I can with you guys about adding income to your life, making yourselves more financially sound. And so many people I've shared this information with, one of the things they've always come back and said to me is, oh my goodness, like my home situation with their spouse is so much better, because we all know that finances is the number one reason for divorce, and it's the number one stress point in relationships. So when I share this with a lot of the guys that I work with, and I'm kind of mentor, and I've helped them build their businesses, and I've helped them grow their businesses and become financially independent from their police agency. That is a big thing, becoming financially independent from your police agency. If my goal is to show you how to build a business that matches and then one day eclipses your police salary. Because if you can do that, you're always going to be in a position where when you say, I'm done with the job, you can now transition, and you're not taking a hit financially to your life, because that income you've built in that business outside is equal to the business, the salary that you're getting from your agency. So that's a position of power, when you could wake up one day and say, you know what? I don't want to go to work today. I'm going to leave. I'm going to retire. I'm going to take my pension if you're vested, and I'm going to go do this, and you feel better about that. So it feels different going to work when you know you don't have to go. Trust me, because I will never forget the day that 221B Tactical was bringing in more money every month than my police job. I remember the first morning waking up, looking at sales, looking at how much I got, my salary from the business that month, and I saw it eclipsed my police salary. I will never forget that day, because in the back of my mind, I was like, wow, I was going to a police department where they were trying to fire me every single day because of the color of my skin. So I remember that day. I was like, ooh, I'm making more than I am at the police department. I could not go to work today, right? And that's why I ultimately, put in my papers to retire and everything else. But I waited till I get to that point, and it was a great feeling. So I'm not saying you have to leave. You could just work your whole career and work your 20, 25 years and have a great career and do all that. But when you have that on the side and it's building and it's growing, trust me, you feel better. And the lower stress on your family, with your spouse, your partner, whoever it might be, trust me, it is going to change your world. So Anyway, thanks for watching. Comment below if you have any questions. I'll try to do my best to get answers to the team. Obviously, you guys know I'm not the one answering all these comments and questions here, but my team is there. They're around the clock 24/7 to help you out. Let me know what you thought about this video. I know it's a little bit off from the gear review, but so many people asked for, especially the guys in my school community, they asked for some more stuff like this, so I figured I'd throw it out there to you guys. So most importantly, be safe out there. I'll see you next time.